Hello, this is Niels from 𝗣𝗢𝗜 course and welcome to the first video of the routing series. Inside that series, you and me take a closer look at the routing inside the DAW. Within this example, it will be Pro Tools. And this is for you if you are more on the beginner side and want to understand how you can do the routing and what kind of advantage you will have in your further process. So I create some shorter videos for that routing series, and in this one we will look at first on the routing of a single audio track to your monitoring outputs of your interface. I like to have the routing as I would do it on the console, not visual like on the console, but technically. But before we look into Pro Tools, here is the visual routing for an audio track. So let's say we have an audio track. In this example, it's a bass guitar track, and this audio track contains the wave audio clip, and that one we will route to a subgroup. I call this a subgroup. You may call this just a group bus or whatever, but this is the group where all bass tracks, if you have more than one or some effects, will be routed before it goes to the main 2 bus, the summing bus. I call this the Pro Tools 2 track because this is the main stereo summing bus before it hits the output of my interface. And for that reason, I also created a listening bus where this gets routed first, and you will see in the whole series why I do that, why there's an advantage to have that listen bus before it goes out to the outputs of the interface. In my example, it's the 𝗣𝗢𝗜 interface. Okay, this is the visual routing for a track. Now let's go into Pro Tools where I can show you how the routing actually works. In that Pro Tools session, I would like to show you how to do the routing. This is a very simple one, as you saw this visually. Here we have not a bass guitar track. This is an overhead track, the left side. You can see here are the wave file, the audio clips on that audio track. Then we have also an aux track. This is called the Pro Tools 2 track. This will be the summing track. And I have another auxiliary track, and this is the listen track or listen channel. And here is a master fader that controls the output of my interface, and this is the 𝗣𝗎𝗜𝗔. So let's do the simple routing, and at first we will route the audio track to the Pro Tools summing track over the bus that I already created. This is the 90 bus. I give some numbers so I can find them faster, and that goes to the input, and now we route that at first to the output. But as you see, I have that listen bus, and I show you in the later parts why I created. So let us route that Pro Tools summing track not directly to the output. So we go to the listen bus, give them the input, and now from that one we can go to the output. So now we see that when I hit play, it plays all through. If I mute that, it doesn't reach the other one, and also to the listening bus. So this is the simplest routing you can do with an audio track to the output if you want to control a summing bus and also with a listening bus. But now we have the ability, if we have more tracks, let's get in another track, and this is the right one of the overhead, and let's route that also to the 2 track. So now we have both tracks routed, and we also can do some panning. And you see, if I mute that one, I make hard panning, then you can see that better. We only have just one channel and also on the right channel. So if you want to solo them, you have to create here the solo save button so that the soloing go through, because if I don't have solo, we won't hear that on the listening bus. So solo save deactivates the whole saving for that auxiliary track and we can listen through. But if you want to have, or if you have more than just 2 tracks, so for a whole drum kit, for example, we can create, I call it a subgroup, and therefore we have the ability to have a group routing folder, and then we can put these tracks in. You see we have that folder function to hide all the tracks that are located inside that folder. But we still have to route these both to that one. For that we give them input, and I have already my bus 1 drums. So we send these both to that folder and then that folder to the summing. So now we go from the audio track over the bus drum bus to the folder, and from the folder to the 2 track to the listening to the monitor out. And as you can see, when I mute that, you won't have anything on the 2 track. And the overheads is a good example to show you another routing possibility with another aux track, because I want to control both of them together and not just the level. So altogether I would like to have maybe a compressor or an EQ and not on every single itself, so for both on the stereo thing. So I create an aux track and stereo one, and we call this group overheads. And that one I give them a bus, and I already have a group bus for the overheads, so I route them over there, and from here it goes to the drum bus group. Here I would do the other thing, I would deactivate solo save and put that on these guys, so if I solo this one, I still get the signal. And you see when I click here on that, there is nothing go through because I have here not the solo save. So I can listen to both together. If I want to just listen to one of them, I have to solo the group and mute that, and then I only hear that one that is not muted. But now I can put here just an EQ or whatever and have that on that stereo side. You also could create a mix group to link the faders and have control over them. That is all the control pre the plugin what you have here. If you have here a compressor and use a lower level, then less level goes into the compressor. If you pull them up, more level goes into the compressor. Here you have the control post compressor. So I hope that makes sense. This is the simple routing you can do to have some track groups, to have a folder routing to the summing bus, to the listen bus, and then to the output. If you have any following questions, please leave me a comment, and I hope I see you in the next video of the routing series.